Hi, hope you can hear me over. My name is Chani Sims, and I'm the Managing Director for Meta Defense Labs. And I'm also the founder of CISO Exec, which is an open giveback platform. It's a global community to empower cybersecurity leaders. And it's great to have, it's great to be here talking to all of you. And I hope you are safe at home and doing your best to help save lives in these difficult times. Firstly, I would like to thank EC Council for inviting me to talk on this platform. Philip and the EC Council UK team has been great supporters for us and a good friend for me. We have partnered with the CISO platform, and we have to help the community and provide scholarships for any bootcamp participants for CISO community. So today I'm going to be taking time to talk about two things mainly. It's about how I strive to be an emotionally intelligent cybersecurity leader and how we fight one of the most costly cyber attacks to the global economy, ransomware. Little bit about me. I have been in the industry for about 17 years. I grew up in Sri Lanka and came to the UK to do my degree. I did a computer science degree and started my career as an IBM engineer, working my way up to be a consultant and now specializing in cybersecurity. Over the years, I've specialized in many areas during different roles I had in my career. I started as IBM System X and Blade Center engineer. I specialized in the hardware. Then going into system management, virtualization, and Citrix infrastructures around VMware and Citrix virtualization platforms. Then data center migrations. Then I went into secure infrastructure architecture, design, implementation phases. I also did secure file transferring, then security gap assessments and security audits. And now I'm working more around virtual CISO capacity. There were some challenges and frustrations I faced during my career, and when they start to bug me too much, I try to do something about it. So something I felt strongly is that security was always a QA item for projects, and there was not enough consideration for secure by design approach. That's how I co-founded Meta Defense Labs in 2015 and decided to help our clients to create secure by design IT infrastructures and solutions around that, and to help them conduct regular penetration testing and security assessments. Now I manage the company's operations for UK and Asia. I also work as a virtual CISO for companies, um, especially for companies, SMEs who does not have a CISO. CISO stands for Chief Information Security Officer. Or as a CISO executive or a trusted partner if the company does not have a CISO. So I'm also an auditor for UK Cyber Essentials frameworks and ISME frameworks, and also ISO 27001. That's pretty much what I do now. And I'm also a mentor through the CISO platform. I live with my husband, who is also a pen tester and a security infrastructure architect. And I've also got siblings in my family, and I also have a huge community that I support, and I have a team in Sri Lanka and here. And I also work as a trusted advisor for my clients. My entrepreneur journey isn't very long, but I've been an entrepreneur since 2015. It's very challenging, but I love it. It helps me to take risks and take on new challenges as well. Virtual CISO is, like I said, it's something I really love, one of my favorite things. And I also like to consider myself as a global citizen because a lot of the work I do is remotely, and I support global community, and I don't like to limit myself to just working in Sri Lanka or UK, where my homes are. So that's why I call myself a global citizen. And I was also recognized as one of the most influential women in the cybersecurity industry last year. I like to help and empower others. That makes me happy, and I think my purpose in this world is to help people where I can and to be the change I want to see in the world. I also did a recent TEDx talk, which is called Stop Chasing After the Magic Security Box. I ask you to watch that, and it's for the whole community and for everyone to see. There are two versions, which is the TEDx talk and the article. They are published on LinkedIn, and then some other organizations also published it. So it'd be good if you can watch that and you will understand more about what I try to do in the industry. As I mentioned before, I have had lots of ups and downs in my career, and I have realized building emotional resilience is quite important, and emotional intelligence or being mindful is crucial in becoming a better leader. A lot of it is all about taking new challenges. I think best way to learn is to take on new challenges, and we have to allow us to fail and fail fast and learn fast, and that is part of taking new risks and challenges. Being mindful is another thing. Understand how our own emotions and emotions of others, that is critical in when dealing with difficult situations or any situation in that case. And also make decisions based on facts and evidence, not assumptions or hearsay. We tend to assume people and judge people so quickly, but I try to look at the facts and evidence before I make any before I take any actions. Taking ownership and responsibility for action is key, being a leader. And I mean, these slides explain some of the experiences I've gone through and also why I do what I do now. And something I always say is if something doesn't kill you, it only will make you stronger. These are some of the platforms that I was featured on, and companies that publish my articles or I spoke on or that I was part of. So some of the training that has helped me over the years, these are some of the favorite training courses that I've invested in during the last 5 years, and they have helped me immensely. So I started initially as understanding how to hack, how to be a hacker, then going on to how to hack the hackers, your incident, sorry, not incident, the forensic side of things, hacking forensics, and then understanding what the frameworks there are, risk governance side of things, and leadership, and also overall cybersecurity, and going into what a CISO does, how understanding a CISO's role, and also disaster recovery, business continuity, business resilience. That's the key in doing anything in the current climate, how we build resilience. And that's what this talk is also about. So my job as a virtual CISO or a CISO executive, these are some of the things that I do to help my clients. Before I go in, I try to understand what the company does, what they want, and what the individuals want. If it's a CISO who's already doing their job, then I try to understand what the CISO's goals are, what he wants to achieve in the company, what his personal goals are. So that helps me to understand the company better as well as the individuals better, because it's all about relations, how we build trust with each other and helping each other. So I try and try to be the independent, trusted advisor for the board or the C-suite. So that way I can give them the better, I can avoid politics in a way and also give them better advice. And also I try and understand the strategy, the roadmap, and then try and align my the security elements into their strategy and the roadmap and build a plan. Then understanding communications, how they communicate, how the communication is distributed, what kind of staff awareness there is. Does the staff take responsibility, how it's done? The communication is key because a lot of the problems happen in the workplace is lack of communication. So having a good communication strategy and staff awareness plan is a key to any program, not just cybersecurity, in any business program. That is what first thing you have to do. Then raising awareness. Gap assessments are mainly to understand the culture, the controls they have, the risk assessment practices that they have, risk management controls they got. So it gives you a better visibility of what the organizational posture is when it comes to security. Then creating your strategy and execution team. It's key having the buy-in from the right people, and then you form that working groups. Then developing security policies and strategies. Risk management framework, how do you assess risk and what is the process around it, how it's documented, then how you go on about implementing frameworks, maintaining, how you maintain security audits, do you even conduct audits, what kind of vulnerability management practices you got, things like that. Then how do you build your business continuity plans? Do you even have one? And how do you practice and review them? Do you conduct regular sessions, things like that? And then going into different frameworks, are there any requirements around achieving certifications, or is it just a tick box exercise? So that's kind of what I try to avoid, not to go into tick box exercises, actually doing it the proper way. Then crisis management, how prepared are you in terms of handling a crisis? Then also do staff mentoring, expert advice, and also we also give access to the CISO mentoring platform. So that's all about me, and let's talk about ransomware. So what is ransomware? I'm sure you all heard about it, all have heard about it. Ransomware has been causing a lot of problems in the industry. We hear about it pretty much every day. And I don't think we can get rid of ransomware in the near future. It's only going to get worse. So ransomware is a malicious software or malware, which if you allow it to run, it can cause so much damage in so many ways, like denial of service attack. Your system is unable to, unusable, or you can't, or you're locked out, you can't access it. It can steal your data, and malware can delete your data, and it often encrypts your data. In some cases, it can take control of your device by escalating its privileges and use it to attack other networks, organizations. It can obtain your credentials that are stored in your system and allow access to others' systems in the network or services that you are connected to. And it can also use your system to mine cryptocurrency. Ransomware often encrypt files and ask you for a payment to restore those files. It uses payment methods such as Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, making it much more difficult to then trace. This can be a very personal, because it uses deception to spread and bully you into paying a ransom, like a real life kidnapping. Only this time it's digital. Imagine using all the pictures, using ransomware to encrypt all your pictures of your family or months of your project work. What are you going to do if you don't have backups? So It can be really crucial for some systems. I mean, if you look at WannaCry last year, I think 2017, some of the screens display here is WannaCry. It affected UK NHS, the healthcare system, and it caused a lot of problems. Ransomware is often distributed through spam emails. There's a lot of spear phishing going on, very targeted and specific, specialized and customized attacks. It can also spread through social media. I sometimes get these emails on LinkedIn from accounts claiming to be recruiters, saying, we have we have a fantastic job that you would like to talk to you about, and sends a file and a link to submit my details. They asked me, it's very, I got one time someone saying, this is a very confidential project, so please go into the link and check the project and submit your details if you're interested. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm going to click on that link. And would you open those things that someone sends you? I don't, definitely. I tell them directly, saying, quite bluntly saying, look, I don't trust you and I'm not going to open this file or the link. If it's so important, then copy paste the job description here, then I can have a look at it and let you know. And then they go away. And then often 2 days later, the guy or the girl comes back apologizing, saying, sorry, my account was compromised and they were trying to reach out to my connections. So you have to be very careful and never click on these attachments or links that people send on social media. So if it's a file or an attachment, it's the moment you click on it, it starts encrypting your files and it's starting infecting your system. If it's a link, often ask you to go to a website, take you to a website where ransomware is delivered to your device without you knowing. They often use exploit kits to track, exploit kits to check if the device has any OS or application vulnerabilities, and it exploits them. For example, the well-known WannaCry ransomware used a well-documented eternal blue vulnerability in Windows. So you have to really watch out what you click on and have your systems patched. The next generation ransomware is going to have human operated using lateral movement techniques in addition to auto-spreading ransomware. So businesses really need to move away from once a year pen test to properly design vulnerability management programs in order to prevent these kind of attacks. These are some statistics, and criminals can get ransomware as a service nowadays, and they even have proper customer services that can help them set it out, and they can be quite professional and services. So these are very profitable enterprises. Experts predict that there will be a ransomware attack on businesses every 11 seconds by 2021. And this does not include attacks on individuals. That means this happens more often for people. So in this slide, it shows that how the ransomware has increased over the years. And then the cybercrime cost will cost the world in excess of 6 trillion annually by 2021. So ransomware is a massive part of it. A lot of the attacks, 90% of the hacks are through phishing emails. So these ransomware costs, what are they? Some of them are damages and loss of data, business downtime, loss of productivity, and disruption to your business. You then have post-attack forensics costs as well. You have to do forensics in certain cases. Restoration of data and systems. Recovery and cleanup of your hostage data and systems. Reputational and brand damages. And that's big ones. You know, once your customers and stakeholders lose trust, it's very difficult to gain that trust. Loss of life in some cases. And the list goes on. I mean, if a hospital, in many cases, we've had cases where when a hospital gets locked out or if their data gets deleted or modified, how do you treat your patients properly? People can die. A little bit of about history of ransomware. So initially, it started in 1989. It was known as the first ransomware attack was known as the AIDS Trojan or the PC Cyborg. It was created by a Harvard-trained biologist, Joseph L. Pop. He sent 20,000 infected diskettes or floppy disks. Some of you may not know what a floppy disk is. Google it. He sent these floppy disks to attendees at the AIDS conference organized by the WHO, World Health Organization. And when people put these in, it encrypted the victim's files and asked to pay $189 to the PC Cyborg Corporation in Panama. The malware only got activated after the 90th start. So this is how it looked like. I managed to find a screenshot of it, but I don't know how accurate this is, but this is how it looked like. Some of the things that businesses should really consider is if it's worth going through all this trouble with ransomware, financial losses, or to invest a bit of money in prevention. I think I always advise going for the prevention approach so that you don't have to deal with these things, or at least you minimize. So I'm going to talk a lot about the prevention methods because it's so important, and I believe prevention is the best way to stop unnecessary cost and help fight cyber attacks, especially ransomware. Let's talk about defense in depth security strategy. What is defense in depth or defense in layers, some may say? It's the key to preventing most attacks. So architecturing your networks carefully so that management interfaces are minimally exposed and your network is well segmented. We cannot protect something 100% unless you intend to keep it locked up, hidden, and powered off as your 100% secure system, but we can't do that. So applying layers of defense with several mitigations at each layer will help to detect any malware and stop them before it causes any damage. Now that we all have to adapt to work from home these days, I believe a lot of us are working from home and you're connecting from home. So let's look at how you can protect your home network with defense in layer, so defense in depth approach. So if you look at your home network, you are connected to your Wi-Fi router, or you had to bring your home desktop or laptop to do your work. So let's look at your assets. What is your asset here? Your data, your connected business systems, and your devices, right? So how do you protect them? Let's look at the first layer. So you have your physical security layer, which is your home, your gates, your security dog or security guard, or your dogs, the door locks, windows, people, to stop someone physically breaking in and taking your properties. Then you have where is the device connected to? Your Wi-Fi router, your power, and how are they protected? Let's look at your Wi-Fi router. Have you looked at configuring your router or firewall correctly? Have you changed your router default admin password to a strong password? That I mean not 8 characters. I'll go for at least 20 characters. That's the paranoid Chani talking. But yeah, nowadays you can't rely on 8-character passwords. It'll be cracked within seconds. So go for longer passphrases, I would say. Then your laptop or desktop. Have you activated the OS firewall? Have you patched it? And is your operating system up to date and patched properly? Are you using VPN to connect? If so, is it a good recognized VPN? Is it licensed and patched properly? Then your other applications, are they patched? Are they issued by licensed or proper organizations, not pirate applications? And the list goes on. So this is how you put in different layers of controls. Then backup. I cannot stress this enough for ransomware prevention. Backup and backup and backup and test your backups. That's one of the most effective ways to recover from data if you do get hit by ransomware. So let's go into looking at backups a bit more. Having multiple versions of backups can sometimes be the only solution to recover files from ransomware attacks. And today's users and business owners don't want any data loss, right? Everyone wants everything to be highly available. Even if in the event of an outage or a crisis, these people expect, the users and business owners expect data recovery to be in minutes, not hours or days. So having good backup strategy is crucial. And some cryptos are very clever that they can be hiding in the OS for extended period of time to create maximum damage by encrypting backup files as well. So one way to lessen the effect of this is to have a long-term offline backup. And organizations should create good backup strategies. Like here I have mentioned, for example, 3-2-1 backup strategy. That is, identify your data, classify them, so you know what the importance of these data. Create 3 copies, use two types of media, and store one offline. It's a good practice to have dedicated backup software that takes regular backups of your important data and storing them in offline backup archives in different locations. When storing them, when restoring from these backup files, they should be first scanned to check for any malware and have them cleaned up properly. Some of the advice that UK NCSC has provided is to make regular backups of your most important files. Sometimes once a night backup frequency may not be enough for some data, so you may have to go for hourly backups. And ensure that the backup is kept separate from your network, which is offline state, or in a cloud service designed for this purpose. Cloud syncing services like Dropbox, Google Drive, SharePoint should not be used as your only backup method. And make sure the device containing your backup, like your hard drives or USB sticks, not permanently connected to your devices or systems. And attackers may gain access to your network and choose to launch a ransomware attack when they know that the storage containing the backup is connected to when the backup is connected to your device. That is to cause maximum impact. So you need to make sure that you have different layers in this case to protect that kind of activity. There are 2 main requirements in security: functionality and assurance. That is, take your backups and make sure they work. So ensuring that your backups are working, that means regular testing of recovery from backups. It's important to help organizations to identify and rectify any issues that could make it difficult to recover from these backups. This involves planning and implementing robust business continuity and disaster recovery plans for your data. When planning your restore process, don't forget to take into account how long it will take to restore one machine or 10 machines or even the whole environment. For example, if you're going to be able to stream 10 terabyte of data from your remote backup location to do a full environment restore in one weekend, do you need to plan a way to get these data across from your backup location to your site in a much more expedited manner, like portable NAS devices or box of tapes and some tape drives? This stuff needs to be rehearsed, well planned, to make sure that people know what they're doing and they know how to do this. So, you know, it would work in practice. So there's a lot of planning and testing in backup strategies that you need to do. Next thing I want to talk about is the user education and awareness training. Awareness cannot be stressed enough, like the backups. I always say cybersecurity is my responsibility, your responsibility, and everyone's responsibility. Take ownership of and responsibility in your actions. Take accountability in what you do, and document and communicate it clearly. Empower your teams to be the strongest link, because humans are classed as the weakest link. And find security champions within teams to help each other and create more awareness. So I always so, for example, I take this virus situation we are in as an example. If I'm going to be very ignorant and careless, I'm going to get the virus and be sick and probably live, probably die. You never know, right? So then if I'm that careless, I'm definitely careless enough to give someone else the coronavirus. And that person may die. Now I have killed someone, and it's going to be difficult to live with that guilt, right? So if everyone start acting like idiots, can we fight it? No. So we should do the same for data. We have to take responsibility. We need to make people accountable and um, give them responsibility and ownership of this data. That's why data owners, asset registers are key. And awareness, creating constant education, giving them constant education and awareness sessions is key to be cyber aware. It helps users to identify phishing and spear phishing attacks, so they know not to click on that link or the attachments. One of the most common ways of these malware to spread is through spam email campaigns and SMS, specifically targeting users. We say humans are the most often being the weakest link in a security system. So it's easy for a clever hacker to exploit human vulnerability. By having regular training and creating cyber aware culture helps business users to be vigilant. And investing in security for IT security for organization is a key factor. Don't look at security as an IT budget issue. Look at security as a business continuity, business resiliency issue. It's a risk management element. Most businesses leave cybersecurity to IT teams, but not consider investing money on providing the right training to the IT staff. So to correctly identify and configure the IT infrastructures to prevent from any attacks. It's all about risk management. So if you tell your IT staff to do security, you're asking them to do their homework, check their own homework. So you need to have right security teams trained to make sure that they are managing these risks carefully. Next one is access control. You need to understand implementing access control mechanisms so you can define permissions, rights, privileges to users and systems. It will allow you to control who can access specific objects in the environment. My advice is to implement access controls in multiple layers, like we discussed in Defense in Depth, so that it provides layered security to protected assets. Enable multi-factor authentication or two-factor. Hackers and malware love it when you do web browsing and emailing with an administrator account. It's great, right? So then they don't need to do any privilege escalation uh, because you've already given them the access. So it's easy for them to own your systems. So never use administrator accounts for email and web browsing. Always configure two accounts at least, your standard user account and your admin account, and your admin task, and do your day-to-day tasks in the user account. This would increase physical access controls as well. So you have to look at implementing physical access controls, logical access controls, and administrative access controls. Monitoring for insider threats. Monitoring is also key. With the use of Boyd, bring your own devices in the workplace together with, it often lacks controls around this. The likelihood of insider attacks have hugely increased for businesses because of this reason. I call it the bring your own disaster, because if you don't have the right controls in place, it can cause disasters. So you have to watch out for those. Insider threats take many forms, and it can be difficult to identify any attack immediately if not constantly monitored. While there are many ways to manage insider threats, having certain software that can monitor networks for suspicious or user activities or network activities or system activities can help with detecting malware before it spreads. They can be configured to detect and stop ransomware or any kind of malware from infecting systems. So you need to have the right people to know how to configure these systems as well. You can't just go and buy a really nice fancy gadget and then hope it will work by default. It's not. You need to have the right people and the process implemented to make sure these devices are configured correctly. Users should by default be blocked from plugging in devices such as mobile phones, USB sticks, CD or DVD to the systems. Monitoring should be in place so that you can detect any infected devices coming into the network. Controlling and managing applications or installations on systems and blocking access to certain websites are good practice. Only allowing outgoing browser traffic via a proxy server can help you to stop browsing to infected sites that spread malicious software, or even disable malware commands and control mechanisms. Email virus scanners are good. Spam filters as well as web application firewalls can stop most of the malware spreading when configured correctly. It offers security in a way of not just blocking ports, but actually inspecting packets to look for correct request coming from correct host to protect or this network or the organization. A WAF is an ideal solution for you if you have vulnerable devices or services or poorly coded sites that do not validate input data or are running at high risk. Ideally, you shouldn't be having these things, but if you do and you're working on it, a WAF would be a good solution. And this will benefit any organization that has mission critical applications and hold critical data. Always run patch software and up-to-date antivirus on all systems. There is no point having newest software running in the infrastructure if you're not keeping up to date with applying the software patches and fixing these vulnerabilities in them. So regular vulnerability scanning is very important. In order to maintain good security posture, businesses need to move away from once a year pen testing or once a year vulnerability scanning. and they need to continuously assess and improve their security posture. So vulnerability assessment is a low-cost process that defines and identifies and also classifies a wide range of vulnerabilities in a constantly changing environment. We are in a technology is constantly changing, so our environments are constantly changing. So doing regular vulnerability assessment is very important to identify these vulnerabilities. So that includes sort of carrying out regular vulnerability assessments. You can that way you can ensure that you have identified and fixed the known vulnerability. So you have to have someone to remediate these vulnerabilities that you identify. Otherwise, these criminals can exploit and inject malware into your systems. Silos. So silos are a way to sandbox. It's a type of a sandbox solution running behind its own zoned off area, delimited by a web application firewall. This allows organizations to secure mission critical information and applications. Also allows vulnerable legacy applications or environments that are simply too complex or costly to re-engineer to continue to run in a way that does not impact the security of the rest of the infrastructure. Basically, you are siloing the environment and securing it that way. But this should be used in extreme and situation. I wouldn't recommend keeping legacy systems anymore. Cyber insurance is a type of cyber liability policy that covers business against ransomware. They are usually called cyber extortion coverage and can help businesses cover the ransom money related expenses and cost of repair. There are usually very specific requirements to get these insurance processes, and before you sign up, make sure that you read the fine print. So that's more about prevention side. Now, let's say you got hit by ransomware. Are you going to pay the ransom? I would never entertain a bully, so it's definitely a no for me because I'm prepared. But it can be it can be very difficult to answer this question in certain cases. It depends on each situation. There is no guarantee that data can be fully recovered after you pay the ransom. So, however, there are many things that you can do to try before you decide to pay. Isolation. First things first. So the moment you realize you have malware in your device, it should be isolated from the network to stop the malware spreading to other devices. Preventing lateral movement is key. To stop them targeting authentication credentials and any built-in tools that can be used for process. This way, two-factor is very important. Turn off your Wi-Fi and disable any core network connections if you have any, and it might be necessary in very serious cases. Change login credentials, including password, especially for administrators who are using administrative accounts in your systems. Monitor network traffic and the type of crypto. If you can, try to identify what is the type of malware it is, because there are different decryption tools that you can use. And then identify the attack source. By identifying where the attack came from, helps to stop reinfection and spreading it to other devices in the network. And also fix the vulnerabilities and make sure the right actions are taken on the cleanup process. Again, cyber insurance, you can contact your insurance supplier if you got a forensics or incident response package in place. And also you need to make sure your backups are safe. One of the most important task is to make sure the backup is not infected and scan for any malware thoroughly. So that's most of what I have to say about ransomware. And I think prevention is key for you on this. So let's summarize. Um, Awareness is important. Defense in layers, monitoring, backup, and testing your backups. Keep in touch with me. I value feedback, and it's important for me to improve, and I would like you to connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn if you can. I'm mostly active on LinkedIn. No clue how Twitter works, to be honest. So I'll just follow you if you follow me, and that's about it. um, and join us at SheCISO. We have a SheCISO group and a LinkedIn page. We are active on Facebook as well as Twitter. We are planning to run a 5-day virtual bootcamp on cybersecurity and leadership in July. And if you like to get a scholarship, we are offering up to 100% scholarships to people. It's a global platform, so you can apply and join the members. And we are running meetups, regular meetups. So now it's going to go virtual. And we are running monthly mentoring calls on every third Tuesday of the month. So if you like to join us. And thank you for listening.